Hello and welcome back to the Google APIs for Rust and YouTube Uploader development stream. It's Byron speaking, and that's the last two things we have to fix today. I mean, actually, this one I can postpone. I could even put it into another milestone because I'm not quite sure if you have to do this right away because that's kind of a minor issue. Even though we shouldn't crash what happens now. So I would rather do this, restructure microcode to allow implementing API command line programs. All right. Because that's, after all, what V2 is about. Yeah, as the name suggests. So what does that mean? If you have a look, actually I can have a look here. If you have a look at the source directory, you see that the Mako code is currently made so that it really only wants to provide us with space for one particular program. Sure, I mean, we could consider this. If you want to implement a command line program, it will be in main, right? And the common file will also be main. Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe I don't have to restructure it big time. Oh wait, I do, because I want to have a special, an own README here. So yeah, like these license files are duplicate, or basically would clash with the license files of our upcoming command line program, and I think we should have just a directory basically that allows us to stash these away. And this one here, yeah, I would put it away as well. So we have. Yeah, let's see how that could look like. I'm not sure myself. Source Mako. That could be, yeah, I can't call it lib because that's a Mako library. I could call it API and CMD, something like that. CMD for the command line tool. CLI, command line interface. Yes, sometimes I had the habit to call command line in tools like CMD, always like CMD, which is just command, which is quite, it's not very precise as a word, considering that it actually means a command line interface, CLI. So that's for sure. Make dear CLI, here's my upcoming command line interface. And now, I would call it lib, but I can't, unless I want to rename lib, which I don't want to. So call it API, which kind of hits the sweet spot there, or protocol, or client. It's kind of the API client, is it? Lib client CLI, command line interface. It's a Google API client in a way, exposing the Google API in Rust. Client or API? I would kind of prefer API, because then it's fitting better in the 3-letter naming scheme here. All right, I guess I have changes here that are uncommitted. Is he sure? Oh yeah, that's actually the library file. Sure, I didn't commit that. That's true. Forget that. So I think I could actually just close these guys down because many of them will move. That is different. Macro render, I never need it open. That will not change. Yeah, so the lib contains a lot of stuff that is only suitable for, yeah, I think I have to move all these away as well, so that there's only the Python stuff left. Even though util Mako, I think that can be shared by the CLI as well. And these are specific. Yeah, util is really the most general stuff, as well as this. Okay, so let's do this. Let's have an API lib subfolder, and now we start actual moving. So cargo and license and readme and depth not, index not, lib .rs.mako, they all go to API. And also from lib, a lot of stuff moves away, like lib.mako, and lib mbuild and lib rbuild and lib schema and lib. That is it. They go to API lib. Thank you. That looks good. And that is it already. I mean, for the step 1. Now I have to make all this stuff work again. Yeah. Which basically means that my it's basically just that my makefile has to change. And I guess some import path, like if you look at librs Mako, and you see whenever I import a namespace. Oh, actually, this might even work because relative to this, well, this has to go up now because it's in a shared library. Yeah, we'll see how that works. Probably generation will fail nicely until all this is sound. So that's the one part. I shall open all these again. Schema and rbuild and mbuild. Basically everything I moved. The good thing is it looks clean already. I know. Probably. Yeah, I have them open. And now the first I think I want to get the dependencies right. Depths, so the depth creation has to be adjusted. And I also want to have a look at my shared YAML because it contains some directory information. Marcosaurus. And I might have to adjust that, but this is fine. That's Marcosaurus. And I think from Marcosaurus, a lot of stuff is happening. So here we have, oh look, I named it API already. That's awesome. So I can just drop CLI in here to have an additional set of stuff that I can generate. I could even make it so that there are the same things for 2 sets. That's awesome. I can do that. Do I want to do that? I think so. Because this guy does use the base path? No, it doesn't. Interesting. What does it do? I mean, templates it definitely uses. But if that would be relative, it can be relative to the API subfolder that already works. So it wants to use this key. So whenever I use API dot, so this one, list either item, what, list? Oh yeah, the API list. The API list is something that is merged into that data set. So basically, whenever you read API, you also get this. It's kind of a subset there that gets merged in. Yeah, so the API list is kind of special because we will use it for the CLI as well. Because for each API, we want to have a command line interface now. But what else? This is something I can use, the blacklist. This is something that is actually not used anymore. But this allows me to basically explicitly ignore things that are in there. I've used this for a while, but now not anymore, so I could possibly even remove it. But here's the API templates, and I think, yeah, for version inversions, I think this loop could be adjusted here to work on a per subset level, per templates level, basically. So once it's API, and once it's CLI. Okay, I think I should. Yeah, let's do this. I think I should start putting some stuff in there at least. So like a dummy librs, which will be main rs. .Mako. I will just put it into CLI. It should be on the same level, so it goes here. It's main.rs.mako. And I just say print line hello world. That should eventually compile to a working program. So I think come on. I hit a shortcut here. I think it's, yeah, I'm a lazy guy, see that? I could have typed that myself, to be honest. But I was afraid I get the signature wrong, to be honest as well. So print line, hello world, that's what all command line programs start with, like that maybe. Good, and eventually that should just fit into our build system neatly. So basically we are doing the build system now, which wasn't really intended with that issue, but I guess it's kind of a requirement anyway. So let's do this. So first, I'd actually like to get this other stuff back to work, but doing this right could already help us to build the to build the CLI as well. So I just want to have a CLI subset here, and the base path. Well, the base path is not relevant. What's relevant is the templates. Custom scopes. That's the properties. Okay. Also, that is not relevant to us. But templates is. And I just copy this one like that. So that should already do something. Of course, it's main, right? And it goes into source anyway. And in theory, we will have a... No, we don't have a common there. Common is also API specific. I hope I did that right. I think I did. API... No, wait. No, I just won't copy that. That's all right. Where's the common file? cmn.rs. API common. Okay, here it is. And I think this is something that, I want to exclude. Unless there is a common for each of these. Which could very well be. No, there will be a common for each of these. So it's source and then API common that gets copied. Yeah, I think I need subfolders then, huh? So that one is going to be the name of the current iteration. Yeah, let's have a look at the depths file just to see how this is done. How the names are generated. I mean, it's relatively huge. Yeah. So right now it's just Blogger 3, and I think it should remain that way. And then it's going to be Blogger 3 API. Now I wonder, should I make it... I think instead of having different loops for this, I might just have a special case that says, okay, and here I go, and now I create the CLI for this. Yeah, maybe that, but I would like to use these as keys to know what the subfolders are named like, so that I don't have to hard-code this. Well, maybe I can hard-code this. I mean, it's quite clear. Maybe I want to hard-code this. Yeah. I think I will hard-code this for now. Because I think if you try to treat it as the same, and then you have to basically add data here that tells the system what to do, because CLI is not the same. CLI says, okay, I depend on the respective API, and I want to be named differently and all this stuff. And this is something that you then would have to put in there. On the other hand, we would benefit from such a system because... Yeah, let's see what targets we want to have, because I think for the CLI stuff we want to have pretty much the same targets. Oh no, it's regenerating. Okay, I didn't break it yet. That's good. At least I didn't break it enough. I didn't break the dependency generation, that is, because I didn't yet update its primary data source, which is the shared YAML. All right. So basically, I want to have something like Task Manager 1 CLI. Do I want CLI clean as well? Yes. Do I want cargo as well? Basically, whatever I have here, I want the same thing for the CLI. And I want CLI to depend on the API, on the respective one. So I guess we have a, let's say, make subdirectory, target suffix, which is there something like null? I don't think so. Yeah, which is just unset. I think then it's none. Target suffix is not set. And depends on. And depends on always means like depends on another primary target thing, another target of the iteration. And that's also null here. Depends on is not set. So now we can take this and put it in here and say that our target suffix is actually API. Sorry, our target suffix is CLI. So whatever target actually it can, yeah, right. No. I was just thinking it can actually know that, right? Because it's kind of the key here, but we just said that API should not have the suffix API. So it's special. That special case is best caught by just saying, well, let's set a target suffix explicitly because this is what it is. And depends on API. So then we can basically look up the key here and look up how the stuff is supposed to be named or something like that. But that should be enough to allow us to indicate that dependency. And to do that, and we're going to get there in baby steps because that code here, I mean, should be easy enough. And maybe we can go there in steps small enough to allow us to actually figure that out properly. API name, AN version. Where's AN coming from? Good, from here. So that's basically for each API. And each version, each API, and that's still okay. That's information we wanna have anyway. And where's the extra loop coming? Here, huh? Because here we set up the targets. So here we would need a loop per subset, basically. And the problem is that we kind of pre-generate everything. So I guess we want to have another loop here that is per primary key basically, and there we would manually put in API and CLI, I suppose. Yeah, so let's try to do that. The good thing is that API name here is used. I don't know, maybe it's used in multiple places and doesn't always make sense. Yeah, so here it's used to get the crate name. Yeah, crate name, another interesting thing. How is the crate name supposed to be? So crate names currently are Google dash and then this API name. So then it will be Google dash YouTube 3 dash CLI. Sounds good to me, huh? Looks good to me too. I mean, that's what it is. And oh yeah, cargo dependencies. But this is something we can handle automatically because that's just a setting in the cargo file. So we will set this up. Speaking of which, let's do this right away. Let's take the cargo file from the API, put it into CLI, and have a look. Cargo, Toml, Mako. So I'm just assuming that this will work. The imports here. And then, so now the crate name, the crate name stuff works for this cargo Toml, but it will not work for the CLI. And there we have to make adjustments as well. And yeah, might even have a key for this that says programs or make primary make targets or something. Then we have a list of API and CLI, and that way we can kind of keep it all together here. And then basically this file could be generic even, so it could be shared among all of these things. It's not going to be easy, to be honest, but I think it's possible. Because with this information now, and with this dependency information, we can generate whatever we need. Yeah, and I think we just will fail until it works. But I think it's important to get our shit together basically right away. And the only difficulty will be with these possibly shared files. And how do we deal with shared files? So what would be shared? A cargo? README wouldn't be shared. It's really just cargo. And that's the question whether I want to share this or not, just for the sake of it. I'm not sure. We now have multiple crate names, right? We have crate name for API, we have crate name for CLI, and this kind of depends on so maybe UDL should also be, let's have a look at UDL. To API version. This is, probably we have to refactor that as well here, because this just won't do it anymore. Even though, if this would load the utility, UDL, the utility of itself, then we can basically make these work. So it looks the same, but it will actually, it's the same file, but because we changed the include path, it will actually include different things. And that would be cool. So we have crate version, crate name, UDL canonical name. Okay. This is something that is looked up in the API itself, so that is shared. Yeah, but we could fix this up to have a shared library. Yeah, I think that's more like it. And then we have a custom util. So geninfo obviously is shared. This is probably not. Self library name, even though the general algorithm is the same. Yeah, I think we are getting now into an issue, well, not an issue, but something that we didn't have to deal with before. Like, how do we properly inherit Mako code, which does work. You can inherit templates, but I'm not sure if it's what we want. Library name, our utility, if that is supposed to remain shared, which I think it will. Yeah, fuck. That's quite a mess of refactoring that I see coming if you want to do it right. If you want to do it more or less right. The good thing is it will simply not generate as long as it's not working. And I would like to take it, to take micro steps and have a working version as much as possible. So changing less is more. Okay, so if I take my own words here, I want to change less. So for now I have no shared, the shared cargo toml is something I don't have right now. And that's good. So I can basically say, well, that's the API toml, cargo toml macro, and I want to have the CLI toml, and now I basically say dependencies. Hyper I will need, mime I will also need, because I need to set the mime type when uploading stuff. URL, unfortunately don't have to deal with. Third, I don't have to deal with. OAuth I will need, and I will need this name here. In a version that is actually, and interestingly, that's the version. That's the version of our API crate, right? And not the version of the crate of our CLI. But the CLI version, well, it has its own code. It can improve separately. Yeah, these don't affect each other anymore. I can improve the CLI without changing the API, right? So the cargo build version here, all this stuff, I mean not all this stuff, but the build version, this is something that is not shared anymore. It's now part of the API. And the CLI has the same, but obviously it's like that. Oh my god. Start back at 0. Start at 0 again. Fine. And that goes away, but this stuff is shared. So I think that's okay to have a top-level cargo here, and then we do the lookups as we need it, because that... Oh... Also not true. Actually... Wait a moment. We can be smart about this, because I could now implement manual hierarchical or manual cascading lookup, so that I know, well, I have this per API, and I also have this per, in a shared fashion. Or I could say, I just merge this stuff. And that's, I think, what I would prefer to say. So this would mean that I have another file, and there could be a different set of people who work on who work on the CLI. So there could be a different set of authors. There could be at some point a totally different URL here and whatnot, and this can be different. And I don't want to start implementing all this manually. URLs. Okay, that's separate. License, separate. Authors, I think... Yeah, I think that's for the license, copyright license stuff. Okay, so what I'm looking at is this. Basically what I want is, I want to move parts of it away and have them override or append to this. And we have this already. We can easily do this. So that's the basis for now. I just keep it. We say share.yaml, and that's going to be in API indeed. And we call it, well, shared API.yaml. So this is the kind of these specific files. If they're there, we merge them in and allow them to override or append to stuff that was previously defined. And this is how this will work. And that's really easy to do. In fact, I think. Should be. Oh, yeah. Should be easy. Even though I will have to implement that particular portion of selecting. No, I don't have to. No, wait. No, I will implement. I will merge these files in. No, wait. Yeah, that's the thing. When I execute Mako, I can basically specify multiple data sources and merge them into one. But right now, the Mako dependencies, I mean deps.mako, when this is called, it must have access to kind of both worlds, right? Must have access to, yeah, either I call it twice. Hey. There we go. There we go. I just call it twice, man. Ha! And then I can actually do this. Cool, let's do this. I call it twice, and basically all the information it needs, it gets from the shared YAML. And then I just pull in 2 files instead, 2 dependency files instead of 1. But this also would mean that I cannot that I must be very careful about certain makefile targets, because they must not overlap then. So in the moment I create a makefile target like where is it? Phony. So update JSON, for instance, that thing would be somewhere else now. These GitHub pages. Now it's okay. No, these wouldn't. I mean, this one. Yeah, I might even put this into the YAML to say, hey, you shouldn't put update JSON there. So GitHub pages is shared, help is shared. I mean, is per subset then, clean APIs. Yeah, we're basically putting in another hierarchical level here. And this will apply to all of these, except for update JSON, which is kind of general, which is special. Considering how special it is, we might, update JSON API targets. Yeah. So we need the generator here as well. Yeah, anyway, I can for now just make these unique by appending the respective suffix. That's okay. I can do this. Yeah, I think that will work. That will work nicely. And then the main makefile here that calls that sets up the API dependencies. This is something that I then do for these 2 files. I can hardcode this. I can make it a bit more dynamic even, but doing dynamic programming in makefiles with for loops and stuff is a bit annoying, but it does work. But maybe I just kind of hard code it in there for now as a beginning, and then as an improvement you can try to find smart ways to not hard code that anymore. Yeah. I think that will work. That should work just fine. And this kind of also indicates the separation of these things, of these 2 sets of programs that we generate. So they're kind of unique. So let's save this. Now that I kind of assured myself that this will work, Google APIs RS, EDC, API. It's going to be shared. It's going to be, it's just going to be api.yaml. And this is it. So now we put that stuff in here. This is shared. This is shared. Yeah, they still share the same index. So I will unshare this, or basically just put overrides here when needed. Authors, currently just one. Protocol, this is supposed to be added. Google is the same. Web is supposed to be added. API is supposed to be added. So these three things are added. So here the only thing that remains is Google. Like this. And now we can, repository API is also shared. I can take this, save it as CLI.yaml, and now put this back to that. It's not a protocol, it's CLI. No, wait, here we put CLI, web not necessary, and it's really that, and it must be a list because you'll then say in the merge algorithm, hey, if this is a list, we will append these lists instead of overwrite them. So this is that. Good. Rest is shared. Good. Primary make targets. This is something we actually do not need anymore because we for now hard-coded into our primary main make file that is not generated. It's handwritten. Absolutely handwritten. Which also means that, we could put this, because we now merged this stuff in, we could put this into the CLI.yaml, which also means that we could have a generic, So what is this? Is a target. It's make. Look, there's all make here. There's all make stuff. Because this directs make, right? So that is make. Top level. And the same goes the same goes for, let's open it, API.yaml. And the same goes for this section here and the templates. Oh yeah, the templates, by the way, they should be under make. It's make templates now. So we take these out and put them in here. In here. Nice. And now, this stuff, API, I could obviously base path terms. What does, we're talking about depths here, right? Oh wait. We're talking about anything, right? Because right now we only, I think even when the main generator is happening, we want to pull in these files additionally here to configure the CLI programs with whatever, we could make something up, and to configure this separately. So I'm saying that everything related to API goes, or that is specific to API, goes here. And that's okay, because in depth we don't access it, and as we will merge it in later, this information will be available. And shared doesn't do anything with that anymore, because that's now truly shared. That's all cargo shared stuff, that's shared URL stuff, copyright, and whatnot, and directories, which are shared between all. So that's fine. Now we have CLI that has its own stuff, and API, and all this is merged together into one tree. So shared comes first, or basically the JSON. At some point, the JSON file comes. For depths, it doesn't matter. But at the end, it's just one massive big tree and everybody can access this information. Which also means that our util.macro, it can stay the way it is. You know, and we might just have to set some sort of, I don't know, set some additional value that says what kind of program we are right now. Like what's our name? But it must not be named name. Let's call it, target suffix, huh? That's it already. So we will read, in the templates we already have, we will read the target suffix and then append this accordingly to get custom things going. And this is what we are going to do. And that way we can have one shared cargo toml that naturally will depend on stuff that we have to depend on. And cargo takes care of the dependencies, so we only have to do one level. There's no traversal here. And this is awesome. I think that's how it wants to be. And all this works just because we merge multiple data sources selectively into one big data tree. So the algorithms can have the same known schema and work on that without any specific stuff, because I want to have as much shared code as possible. Or let's just say I want to share the code that can be shared. Everything else would be maintenance hell. And maintenance hell means bugs. And maintenance hell means I don't meet my deadline. And I hate that. So let's be, let's not take this lightly here, but be very, very careful about making the right decisions. All right, that looks good to me. And now we said we use it multiple times. So with that in place, we should be able to just build the API as it was before. That should work first. And then we can share files around and stuff. So even though I think the cargo toml should already be shared, because that should work for both, no matter what. So let's see what happens if we want to share such a file and how this would look like. How would this look like? Here we specify the templates, and the cargo toml comes from basically our root directory, right? This is where we are. And then we would basically say something like this. We go one up. And that should pick it up. It's just file system stuff that happens there. So no big deal. So that would be that. So they can have their own if they like. They can also do this, which is cool because in future, if you want to have another type of program that kind of builds upon the API, we can just throw it in like this. It's then the same thing. So the work we do now, the infrastructure work, will benefit us for everything in the future, even right now, even though for now we will only have two kinds of things like the API itself and the respective program. But it's a massive amount of time we are saving just by doing this right. Okay, so I would like to have it like this. And then this Mako API, we basically, I take this out of there, I just kill this. Because then, this dependency stuff, we can now put this into our shared data source and be happy with it. So let's kill the copy, because copies suck. So CLI, whatever. And I move this array. I move this, it's API. I move the cargo one up, because it can be shared. And what about the license, huh? I think the license is another good candidate for sharing. Absolutely. So let's move this up as well. So API, license goes one level up. That stuff is shared now. So what's left of API is the README file that is definitely coming, and the custom lib stuff, which is definitely special, and the custom lib stuff, which is very special to our API. And this is it already. Good. So the dependencies. This file doesn't exist anymore. Cargo Mako. That's good. So dependencies. We have shared dependencies. So hyper, mime we already figured is shared. And these are just needed, and this is also shared, and these are just needed for the API. So now we go cargo dependencies. I just want to get my data right, as you can see. So here we have URL. How do I do it? Just as string? Yeah, just a string. That's sufficient. So here we have this and this and that, and then we can just throw it in there. Which I shall implement right now. Why not? For dep in cargo dependencies. Oh, and that's the beauty of it. And and yeah, just throw it in there. It's really all. Dep. Here you go. And that's that. Good. So then we have then we have a little problem because we have to somehow get the crate version of the thing that we want to depend on, because in cargo, I mean, we've set it up so that we can depend on one more thing, but we need to know at least the crate name of that thing that we want to depend on. And that is dependent on the make suffix right now. And I guess that the library name, no wait, crate name. That crate name wants to be changed then. You know what? Two things. First, we have a new branch here. And then I will start committing stuff often. So that's the first thing. The cargo toml so far does make sense, so that will work once we have done it. I should kind of take baby steps and kind of commit stages that I think are good. We should add this as well. Many more changes to come to make this work, but sorry. And also, I think the video has been going on for long enough. So yeah, multiple stages. That's going to be a longer ticket, I suppose, but I hope I can finish that today, because then we kind of would have done what we came out to do. So that first thing is, oh, damn it, too much. Unstage, 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 unstage. Yeah, that is okay. On a new branch. And what is it? Oh, it's actually a refactor. Haha, there's a name for that. Yeah, refactor. Refactor Mako. Prepare to split API relevant stuff into subdir. Put. This is the first of many changes to come. We try to leverage our ability to merge multiple data sources into one, to abstract away what we are actually doing. That's good. And of course, to allow sharing the majority of the code where applicable. You don't want to share everything, but we want to share stuff that is mostly similar and just needs maybe a condition here or there to work, you know, or just needs some external data to work. That's easily abstracted now. And that's what we are doing. Good. So we are at a good stage here. And I think next I should prepare the call, the actual call to the dependency generator, and kind of work myself upwards from there. So first we need to generate the API depths, and if that doesn't work, you know, we can't even generate any code. So that's going to be in the next session. So thanks for watching and have a good day.